How was your adult revenge on your childhood bully? After I finished high school, a girl who bullied me relentlessly for years messaged me on Facebook saying a bunch of awful things. Facebook was new at the time, we all added anyone we knew. I just screenshotted the messages and posted them to her wall. Then a bunch of her friends messaged me asking if I was okay. I got my revenge and didn't have to stoop to her level. I married my bully's high school crush. A kid that bullied me in high school. He actually gave me a black eye once and got suspended for it. Messaged me on Facebook apologizing for everything he did to me back then. I told him it's okay, you were just young and didn't know better. I eventually got a drink with him one day to see what he was up to and he broke down on me. Started talking to me about his alcohol problems and how he was self-destructive. He was getting kicked out of his mom's place and had no job. Being the sap I am, offered him a job at the restaurant I was managing at the time. This was about 2 years ago. Fast forward to 3 months ago, he is now a kitchen manager at the same restaurant and he asks me if I'd like to get a drink with him. Dude bought me and my girlfriend a ticket to Colorado and told me he will never be able to pay me back for how much I helped him, but he is at least in the position where he can try. Colorado was fun. My best revenge was to just keep on being myself. This girl in high school would criticize me on everything. Call me names and pick up fights with me for no reason. She eventually got kicked out of school. We met when we were in our early 20s. She started off nicely with the usual "how are you? What's been happening?" Turns out she hadn't even changed a little bit. "Oh yeah? Want to be a teacher? You'll probably make a miserable one. I wouldn't send me kids to your school. Ever." That's when I realized that I was just so over her and her bullying and that there was just no hope for her to realize what she did was wrong. It gave me some sort of satisfaction. Not my bully, but my best friends. Kinda kept in touch with the entire high school class through Facebook once it came out. This chat asks if he can use me as a reference because we got similar degrees and ended up in the second field. Adult him seems like a sham. It's all fake. My high school best friend moved to Europe because of this guy. He can't change that much. So I agree to meet him for drinks and see if he changed. 10 minutes into the meetup and he's telling me about cheating on his wife with girls right out of high school. So, of course, I said yes. Only had 3 calls I guess before he caught on. But I made sure I told the truth. His sister sucked my dick. Being a confident, successful adult. Just kidding. I'm faking it like the rest of you. Well, does revenge as a child count? When I was 11 there were 2 bullies who would mess with me all the time. They were a couple years older. This heavy-set kid named Frank and his taller and meaner friend. I forget his name. One day I was out riding my bike at a park. They had stopped me. One was holding up the front of my bike, while Frank was hitting me, trying to knock me off the bike. At that exact instant my brother, 6'4", 220 lbs, was driving by. He quickly stopped the car and ran over. He picked both of them up by their shirt collars, one in each hand, holding them each about a foot off the ground. He said something like, "You mess with my brother again and I'll bash both your $% heads together. Got it?" He dropped them both. They fell. Then quickly got up and ran away. They never bothered me again. At that moment I felt that, yes, there is justice in the world. We ended up fighting in front of a crowd. I beat him and he stopped being a jackass bully to everyone after that. I was bullied for a lot of things. Primarily for being overweight and being nerdy. A lot of my bullies are now also fat, or have noticeably put on weight, while I've started losing. One of them is a drug addict. One was arrested on child pornography charges. One is in an ongoing custody battle and his ex's family are rather violent. Others just made bad moral choices, such as becoming a gold digger, drinking regularly, or just continuing to harbor ill feelings against me. I gave him decaf latte before he left to go to his high-powered Wall Street exec job. Haha. He's going to be tired around 11. Not so much revenge. But I got an insane amount of satisfaction from seeing that they all lived up to the expectations set out for them to become single, unwed mothers by 24. Bumped into him at a bar. He apologized for bullying me. I didn't remember him. I have Tourette's syndrome and was bullied relentlessly in early grade school. One day in the winter I had had enough. So I threw a jagged block of ice at my bully's face. Knocked some teeth out and he needed stitches. I almost got expelled. Worth it. I have not taken revenge at all. I have moved away and left it behind as much as I could. Now I just watch him waste his life from afar with a content smile and see how not having education is kicking his ass. He is losing friends and eventually will end up alone. Not that my life is so amazing. But I am doing better than him. I've never wished a man dead. But I have read some obituaries with great pleasure. My bully hit on me at some bar years after he bullied me. I knew who he was immediately. But he had no idea who I was, so he kept going. Finally I asked, "Do you know who I am?" And he said no. I said, "I'm so and so, and you made my life a living hell in elementary school and I want an apology." His face dropped and he apologized profusely. Said that he was a huge asshole in elementary school etc etc. Not gonna lie. It felt good. I worked as a newscast director for my local TV station a few years back. Part of the job was making show graphics, maps, full screens, OTS, over the shoulders, etc. For each newscast. Including for the local Crimestoppers segment. I prepped the mugshots of no less than 3 people who gave me shit in school for air during my tenure there. That always managed to put a smile on my face. I'm doing better in life. Living well truly is the best revenge. I don't know, the poster with Tourette's who knocked out the bully's teeth sounds pretty good. Beat him up then slept with his wife while he watched. Just kidding. He's doing well and my life is a horrible piece of shit. There was a guy who was popular but also a bully at my high school. I ran into him at a bar about 15 years after. He was super cool and the nicest guy ever. I was talking with his wife and I mentioned the bully thing and she said everyone she meets from his high school tells her that story. He even acknowledged it and apologized. Apparently he was going through a very rough time in high school and he had since learned a lot and life had calmed way down. It made me feel really good about not holding on to things like that. Moving away from the rather depressing town and making a relative success of my life. Suck it. Kid who hasn't thought about me for 20 years. I didn't. The universe did. It wasn't exactly protracted enough or abusive enough to be called bullying. But when I was 11, I had a friend I went around with and she tried to introduce me to her larger circle of friends. This one girl who was basically the alpha female would not stop ripping on me for not being cool enough. She threw fit about how f***ing uncool I was because I went to drama class instead of other cooler hobbies. She went on and on about how I was uncool because I didn't go to the same cafe they went to. Fast forward a few years. She ended up a teenage mother. Lol. They got a huge full back tattoo, the ugliest tattoo I have ever seen. I saved the JPEG on my desktop and named it Revenge and I look at it occasionally if I get sad. So I have a friend who sometimes catches up with my high school bully and gets his new number. My friend gives me his number and then I spend the afternoon signing him up for gay dating sites and some weird Craigslist shit. I'm told he has had to change numbers about 20-30 times in the last 3 years. She got fat. I got fit. I got fat. 2 of them. At the end of my legs. I never really got revenge but worked my ass off at uni and ended up working on movies. Got married. Had a kid and have my own house, so that was revenge enough. That he didn't dictate my life. I then found out that he was a school counselor for unruly children and thought to myself, he's turned his life around. Not really a bully, but my turd scum of an ex-girlfriend. She broke up with me after coming back from a trip and telling me at school the next day she cheated on me with some random dude she met online. We're both 21 plus now. And she's got a 3-year-old kid and still lives with her mother. Last month, I was at a Kroger buying flowers for my current GF. She's fking amazing BTW, and turd scum is with her non-baby daddy boyfriend. Dude looks at me walking down the aisle with a nice bouquet of flowers and says, "Hey, maybe I should buy you some flowers like that guy is doing for his girl." The look of utter shock and disdain on her face was fking priceless. Walked by her with the biggest smirk on my face. Best part was I was all fancied up cause I was about to surprise my GF with a date night. So I'm dressed in a polo and slacks. And Turch-T's chimney choker has his pants around his thighs and looks like he hadn't bathed in a week. So satisfying. They're still in Florida and I'm not. He became a cocaine dealer and I became a snitch. Having more success than them and bragging about it on the internet to strangers. Telling him he missed a spot when drying my car. Karma eventually got them. One died of brain cancer. A car accident got 4 of them at once a couple years after graduation. 3 died. The other lost his legs. And the teacher who I hated got arrested a couple years later for fking a student. I wasn't really bullied growing up by the way. But I do have a story. Guy who bullied my cousin and even brainwashed his then girlfriend and turned her against him was paralyzed from the neck down in an accident and will never have use of his body again. My cousin told him right to his face that he got what he deserved. This is what happened to my sister's bully. She was on cheerleading with her and constantly bullied sis. She was one of the shorties so she got tossed in the air. Sis was short too but a bit bigger so cheerleader was always on about that. One day at practice when she came down and they didn't catch her. Broke her neck and paralyzed her from there down. Sis went to visit once after. And she still tried to bully her over being chubby. Still. Sis told her to enjoy being a talking head and quit cheer. I never had a bully. Which probably means I did some of the bullying myself. When I think back, I feel an overwhelming amount of remorse. He's a cop now. So my revenge is basically just watching his marriage fail and seeing his 3 kids grow to hate him. It's pretty good. Plan on doing it someday when I have money. I plan on paying off their debts just to make them feel horrible for treating me like shitty and saying I won't amount to anything. Well, you're not going to amount to a hill of beans. Just kidding. I want to get in on your debt payoff program. Is it too late to kick sand in your face? Hey, it's me. Don't pay off their debts. What would that teach them to tell others? Be an asshole and it will end up helping you in the future? Full stop. Show them that you can pay off their debts but don't. I had my bullies approach me on bonfire night when I was about 17. They came and said how sorry they were that they made school horrible for me, etc. I told them to go FCK themselves. I persevered and became quite popular in school while they faded into obscurity for being dicks. Mixed feelings about this one.